Towards the awakening of the concept of self-reliance, China has been the one to make the hugest move. With the advancement of technology, the Chinese government has become one of the most strategic players in terms of its chips, and its strategy to achieve the same would make you experience the real plan. If you want to know more about the same, stay here with us to learn more. Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, we would really appreciate it if you took a moment and subscribed to the channel. Also, a lot of information regarding the US and China's tech war would be shared in today's video, so make sure you watch it till the end, smash that like button, and lastly, don't forget to turn on the post notifications to never miss out on any new updates from us. And with that being said, let's get into it. The crucial topic of today's video is chips. Well, as you might already know, a chip is something that is there in almost all electrical items. As of today, there are practically 1 trillion chips made in the year. With the advancement of technology, the Chinese government has been playing its part to get involved via a specific strategic manner. Though the country can become the next largest industry, meaning this country is one step closer to becoming self-reliant on that energy or power that powers the most crucial key towards all humankind's future of scientific advances. The chip, which is the talk of the video, is the most expensive complex piece of silicon, which is responsible for giving computers and smartphones their piece of intelligence, and most importantly, this type of chip is produced by very few companies in the world via a room of advanced manufacturing. Well, the production of this chip is so rare that the most crucial player in terms of manufacturing, Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company, abbreviated as TSMC, declares a shortage. The entire industry shuts down, which is why this has become massive news of concern for Western countries. As for today, there is a global shortage of semiconductors inducing high demand in the field, which requires some to overcome the supply needs. That's the part where China kicks in. The Chinese government has always wanted to take over Taiwan, if necessary by force. However, due to the current demand for Taiwan's necessary services and products, the US has come into the picture as a shield for Taiwan. As a matter of fact, China has been developing plans to curb its chip shortage and take over the entire chip production. The semiconductor industry has transformed into a high-stakes geopolitical issue and a source of tension between two great nations in attaining tech supremacy. Imperative to keep pace with the digitized world, this needs to be understood that every Chinese company relies on US chips, and the US firms have been benefiting from the Chinese market. However, when it comes to interdependency, China has always shown clearly how badly it wants to be dependent on no one. And that's a major reason why China has been so focused on Taiwan. China has been intensively driving to acquire Taiwanese talent and technology, for which an expectancy of Chinese cyber attack in crucial Chinese companies is a major possibility. A measure to boost the aim of obtaining the intellectual property necessary to flourish the Chinese semiconductor industry. Last year, the US government placed numerous sanctions on China's largest chipmaker, Semiconductor Manufacturing International Corporation, citing military end use in China, after which China was prompt enough to release the 14th five-year plan, pushing its aim of achieving autonomy in semiconductor production to help with its technology reliance. Chinese Premier Li Keqiang on March 5, 2021 singled out investments in core technologies like chips, AI, and 5G to catch up with the US. The Chinese hawks have been trying to urge Biden's administration to restrict sales of chip-making tools to Chinese companies, a similar move that the administration has been doing, and not to mention closing the semiconductor technology gap is one of Beijing's top priorities. Under the former Trump administration, the US-China relations were at their peak. The US has resorted to tightening semiconductor export controls with stricter licensing policies as Washington cracks down on investment and acquisitions of China technologies by Beijing. Still watching? Please hit the subscribe button and smash that like button if you haven't already. The US has denied its sales to the Chinese firms, as it did with Huawei and SMIC, thereby putting high pressure on TSMC which side to choose. According to journalist James Crabtree, semiconductors remain one of the greatest advantages Biden has over China's President Xi Jinping. And in a new Cold War, you fight with the weapons you have at hand. Biden is likely to push forward with an ever more Chinese-style industrial policy as he seeks to both cajole global chip suppliers to ship with the US. This was the primary reason why China stepped up to double down and build its own domestic technologies. The number of newly registered chip-related companies in China have more than tripled in the first 5 months of the year from the same period in 2020, thereby clearly indicating that China has spared no effort in its pursuit of becoming self-sufficient in semiconductor manufacturing, to cut down its heavy reliance on imports and US technologies to satisfy domestic demand. From January to May, China has seen 15,700 new companies involved in everything concerning the production of semiconductors. From designing to manufacturing chops, this production surge comes on the back of a wave of investment in the semiconductor industry. As for the statistical parts, the US has dominated the semiconductor industry, controlling almost 48% of the total market share in terms of revenue, as 8 of the top 15 largest semiconductor firms in the world are in the US. And then we have China, who has imported at least $300 billion in chips, more than any other country, with a supply of just 30% of its chips domestically. It is indeed hard to digest the fact that a country like China has such a significant disadvantage. However, looking at its quantity, we'd already seen China has taken this step. Shanghai-based contract chipmaker Semiconductor Manufacturing International Corporation, helped by 2 former semiconductor veterans from Taiwan, has solidified its status as Beijing's best hope to catch up with the global pressure in semiconductor manufacturing. The senior executives of the Yangtze Memory Technologies Co. visited Beijing for a meeting with the top Chinese economy's management bodies to focus on the company's efforts to build some of the world's most advanced computer memory chips. Yangtze Memory opened its doors in 2016. However, its ambitious plans to weed out the American suppliers and those relying on US technologies might as well come a handful to China. YMTC, which has also remained under the radar of the US government to join the banned pack, has been playing safe under the guidance of Beijing, which has spurred an aggressive effort to identify and replace the problematic parts and suppliers. YMTC has launched a massive review of its supply chain in an effort to find local suppliers to replace its current dependency on American technology. After the city of Wuhan reopened last April, YMTC mobilized hundreds of engineers to start off with the production processes. With the surge in Chinese semiconductor manufacturers, every US market leader in the computer chip industry has a Chinese doppelganger. YMTC is just behind Boise, Idaho-based Micron. Beijing-based Naura Technology Group represents China's hope to challenge Applied Materials, headquartered in Santa Clara, California. Shanghai's advanced microfabrication equipment is China's version of Lam Research in the US for building virtual etching machines. After the US trade war and Huawei sanctions, China's government has taken high-end cover. Beijing has seen the dependence on American technology after the revelations by Edward Snowden in 2013. In recent years, the Chinese chip industry as a whole has not covered itself in glory. In 2015, as a part of its Made in China 2025 plan, Beijing had set a goal of producing 60% of the chips consumed in China, and in the past 5 years, the number has risen from 10% to 16%. Chinese firms have been facing global laggards to generate network effects needed for a giant leap. As the heavy investment is not enough to resolve the challenges, China's small semiconductor manufacturing equipment industry is unlikely to profitably absorb the billions about to come soon. Since Biden's administration has already added 7 Chinese supercomputer makers to the entry list, most of the global chip developers and manufacturers will have to side with the US as America still prevails in their products and services. As for our belief, Beijing has been doing a great job, and its continuity will eventually make China self-sufficient in finding local technology suppliers for its semiconductor production. However, on a practical side, China would only be able to reduce its reliance on the US, but without its technological sources, it won't be able to speed up its technological advancement. Moreover, as for the US excluding China from all its supply, China would land the country in a critical state of scarcity without China being around as the immense source of raw materials and rare earth elements used in semiconductors. Well, in the longer run, with Beijing's Made in China plan, China will undoubtedly become the most competitive semiconductor industry for the US. So that's it for today's video. Thank you for watching. If you found this video informational, then please drop a like, subscribe to the channel, and don't forget to turn on the post notifications, always to get notified whenever we come online. Until next time we meet again, goodbye.